Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Today I'm here with Sam, the KDP expert, friend of the channel. Crazy how time flies because he's been a guest before, but he's back to give us an update on how KDP has been going for him. So Sam, what's up, man?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's good to have you back. How have you been since last time we talked?
Seems like it was literally a couple months ago, but it's something like 2 years ago since I was last on. So yeah, lots has changed, lots of good stuff, some bad stuff, but obviously that's life. But yeah, all good on my end.
You moved to Bali?
Yeah, I think last time I was on the channel, I was in the UK, but now moved back to Bali. So I wouldn't say I lived here permanently, but for the most of the year, I'm here between here and the UK. So yeah, certainly can't complain.
Yeah, your Twitter is a good follow. I'll plug that for you too.
Yeah,
That's how
thank
we
you.
initially met, so I can put that in the description too.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
How's business though?
Business is good. Yeah, so still doing obviously the KDP stuff, but since we last spoke, I think when we last spoke, I think I just had my Twitter as kind of like my social media. But since then moved into YouTube, and I'm enjoying that a lot more now. So main focus now is still on the Amazon KDP stuff, and also helping growing out my YouTube, which also is Amazon KDP theme. So everything's still kind of KDP based, but also have the YouTube videos, which is, as I'm learning, it's a very interesting avenue to go down. There's so much that goes into a YouTube channel, YouTube videos, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the grind, and yeah, I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, it's an endless rabbit hole, man. You kind of just got to figure out how to make it work for you. And
Yeah,
the definition of that, I feel like evolves over time. You know what I mean? Like it's
because
crazy.
I've had it now for probably just over 2 years, and until recent months, there's no consistency over the content. It was just, I'm going to start this channel and I'm just going to put KDP videos out because they're going to be valuable at some point to someone in some form. And it's not until you kind of do loads of different types of videos that you realize, actually, this is what I want to focus on. This is where kind of people get the most benefit out of, and I can kind of sustain. And then you go down the real rabbit hole of titles, thumbnails, ideation, that kind of stuff. And what's interesting is it's very similar to KDP, and I'm sure it's similar to a lot of things online. It's all
Right.
about that research and like packaging things up in the right way, like using the right keywords for KDP and the right niche research for KDP. YouTube is the same, using the right titles, the right thumbnails. So there is some transition there. So it's not too daunting, but I'm definitely still learning it all.
Yeah, I agree, man. Except YouTube, like they want you to kind of stay in your lane. That's one thing I noticed. The algorithm's like, oh, you talk about print on demand? Okay, talk about print on demand. So
Yeah,
hopefully we
yeah.
get some love for the KDP content, but also, of course, as Sam just mentioned, I will drop a link to his YouTube channel so you can follow him for KDP content on his channel. Do you mind just kind of starting with like a primer for anybody that's watching that's heard KDP before but has
Yeah.
no clue what it is?
So I'll try and keep it as easy to understand as possible. So KDP just stands for Kindle Direct Publishing, which is essentially Amazon's very own self-publishing platform. So anyone in the world can go to Amazon KDP and upload books that then get printed on demand when a customer buys it. So you will upload two files. There'll be a manuscript, which is your book interior, and then a book cover. Those are two PDF files that you upload to Amazon. You set your price, it gets listed on Amazon, and then when someone buys it, that would trigger Amazon to print the actual book itself. So we're uploading like online versions of books, but they are physically printed by Amazon. Once someone buys it, Amazon will do all the logistics, all the shipping, and then you'll just take a 60% sale, a 60% cut of the sale price minus printing costs. So, you upload the book and then your work is kind of done. Aside from any kind of Amazon ads you want to do, Amazon take care of the rest. So it's a very, very passive business model, which is why I got into it in the first place. And it's important to know too, you don't need to be a writer. A lot of people hear KDP and they hear that I produce books online and they think, oh, I can't do that, I'm not an author. But you really don't need to be an author. I only produce things like activity books, so coloring books, word searches, combinations of all these different activities that literally anybody can make, but the skill is knowing which books to make at the right time and how to package them all up. And that's kind of where the expert knowledge comes in. In terms of actually accessing KDP, anyone can do it, zero startup cost. And like I say, it's all print on demand. So can be very passive once you've built up your portfolio of books.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot beat when Amazon does everything for you. It's similar to Amazon merch, which a lot of my followers are more familiar with,
Very
where
similar.
you literally sign up. I mean, it's an application though, so you don't necessarily guarantee that you get in. With KDP, you sign up and you get in right away. But yeah, Amazon merch, Amazon does everything. They pay you a royalty. I think a lot of my followers are familiar with Amazon Seller Central as well, where Amazon does not do everything for you. You have to integrate a company that can fulfill your orders, and then you've got a couple more moving pieces. But KDP, man, it's a nice opportunity.
Yeah, it sounds very similar to the merch stuff, and it's interesting now actually because it when I first started really wasn't popular at all, but it's growing in popularity. But with that, you've got a lot of people who just spam the market, especially with AI. How good AI is now, it's so easy just to make a book like that. People just spam the market with fully AI produced books. So Amazon, interestingly, are increasing, some of the checks that you need to do because, and people think that's a bad thing. That's a really good thing because the less the market is spammed with low quality, the more your stuff will stand out. So some accounts, mine hasn't had it yet, but have to verify their information. So ID, that kind of stuff. But I see it all as a really positive thing because like anything, when people who have put no effort into this kind of stuff just flood the market with absolute crap, people will just get put off by it. But yeah, it's definitely a good move.
Yeah, fun fact, man. I started KDP in 2019, October, and I was honestly like, I was kind of flooding the market, but back then, you know how you could kind of convert.
Yeah, I was
yeah,
too.
it worked. I mean, it worked back then, and it wasn't like using AI. It was using other tools, and I would take my t-shirt designs, make notebooks, and I made, no joke, my first 3 months from zero knowledge, not even registered with KDP. 3 months, I made $3,500 profit. But like that was 2019. So much has changed. Do you mind speaking to like kind of your thoughts on the way to go about it now? Because I know that what I used to do does not work.
Of course. It's funny you say that. Before I go into that, I started literally at the same time. It may have been September, but pretty much the same. And first month made I'm in pounds, so made £1.89 in month one. And then month 3 was obviously December. So before I knew, I can touch on that in a minute. November and December, your sales just go through the roof. So similar to you, by month 3, I'd made over £1.8 thousand. And I just produced these notebooks. And I was thinking, I've made this in 3 months. I'm going to be so rich in 2 years. And then realized that actually December is not a true reflection of how it goes. Back to the drawing board in January. But then it gave me a taste of, what could potentially happen. So I thought, you know what? Next December, I'm going to make even more. I'm going to keep going, keep adding these books. So going back to the question that you said, initially when I first started and when you started, the way to go was just notebooks. So some kind of, PDF file that you can download from loads of different places of just line journals. And the key in terms of differentiation was the front cover. So you'd have maybe like a meme or some funny kind of pun on it. So that kind of front cover. And then you would just the game was just a volume game. Let's put as many of these up as you possibly could. And I remember in that period that we just mentioned having, 4 or 5 tabs of KDP open. The minute you upload the book, Amazon have to take a few minutes, like review it and preview it. The minute that went on, next tab, upload the next book, and then just kept working through.
Dude, I had upload automation too. I had literally like tools to do everything in bulk, fully automated. I would run it while I was asleep. Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but
no, that's cool. Yeah, that's so that was the game back then. Now, obviously, it's become a lot more competitive because more people are doing it. You have to actually have some kind of strategy behind what you're doing. So nowadays, I wouldn't. So with KDP, you have kind of 3 main areas. You have no content, which is what we were doing initially, line journals. You then have low content, which I think as things like logbooks where every single page is the same, but there is a little bit more detail to it. So notebooks, no content, like a logbook would be low content. Then you then have medium content, which is where things like activity books, coloring books, every single page is going to be different. So it's a bit more of a unique product. And then you have high content, which is like a generic normal book that you would kind of imagine. So I sit within medium content because it's the best blend of, you're completely unique from everybody else. When we were both selling these notebooks, we had the same product. It was just a different interior, a different front cover. Whereas medium content, you can literally produce anything you want. So it kind of blends how easy like low content publishing is with how unique you can be with high content. So I would recommend that's the best place to be now. So you want to be producing books that are high quality. And the key with anything with KDP now is you have to do your research up front. You have to see what people are searching into Amazon, off those search terms, how many products are there, how many people are you competing against, you know, how aggressively are they using ads? Do you think you can kind of work your way in? So you do need to be a lot more strategic now. So that's definitely the suggestion I would go for. Maybe start with no content or low content just to get a feel with how the platform works on the whole process, because it is a bit unfamiliar if you've never used it before. But then once you've got a little bit of a grip, spend more time and go for the quality over quantity approach. It was definitely quantity over quality when we first started, because some of the books that I made that sold quite well, I can still see now and are absolutely awful. I don't know how they sold. They wouldn't have a chance these days. So yeah, it's definitely a focus now on, you know, maybe 1 or 2 high quality books per month is easily enough to be making enough to replace your full-time income if you know the right niches to be publishing in. And that's kind of where, you know, all that knowledge goes, is to knowing exactly what books to create based on the research and how to package these all up, you know, with the right front cover, the right title. And then it's a case of using ads. Ads are a lot more important now than they used to be. More competition, there's more people you have to stand out from. Having ads is just great because you can essentially pay to show up in front of your ideal customer, especially when you first launch your book and it's not kind of in the algorithm so much. So ads, especially at the start when you just launch a book, are quite important. But then over time, you can start pulling them back in, start spending less on them once Amazon starts pushing your book organically. So yeah, that's probably a little bit too much detail for a beginner. But yeah,
that's good. It's good.
KDP, yeah.
Yeah, like really what drove my sales in those first 3 months, the $3,500 profit, 2 books were by far the primary earners. And I didn't use any ads. So, but just for reference, like they were like no content books, but still like what you just said is so true. Like just a few books that are high quality can make all the money. You know what I mean? I totally believe that. And I also completely, I don't know this from experience. I kind of really just stopped doing KDP, but I completely would imagine that what you said holds the water of like literally knowing what customers are searching for, and like directly meeting that expectation. And of course, knowing how to present the cover, getting them to get, you know, click you in search results and start selling, getting the reviews and stuff like that. Like I imagine that's obviously important as well.
Yeah, and it's something that kind of just comes with experience now. So luckily, I've done this for 5 years now. So I can look at a book that I've created, or one of my students can come to me and say, Sam, look, here's a book that I've got. What do you think? And I can know pretty well, is this book going to do really well or not? Because there's the same thing. It's hard to describe exactly what it is, but you get the sense of looking at the current market and looking at their offering, how they packaged it up. Yes, I know this is going to do well. Or if it's not, no, I suggest you change this, and then you've got a much better product there. So I think having done it for a while, you kind of take for granted just kind of being able to see something and be like yes or no. But it's definitely taken a long time and a lot of failed attempts to get to that point.
That's definitely good to hear though, right? Because we want to know that, you know what I mean, that you put in the reps and that you improved your process with time, of course, you know, because if you're not doing that, you're not going to move forward with your business. You might get lucky initially, 100%. But you won't have a long-term. Yeah.
100%. You need to know, it's not just a case of just flooding the market with loads of stuff. You actually need to take a step back sometimes and think, okay, because like you say, some books will just do really well and some will not sell any units at the start. Just take a step back and think, okay, well, what's special about, why is this book sold and why is this one not? And then over time, if you've done it for a couple of years, you have this massive batch of books that have all done really well and they all share like similar things in common. You've done the same things and you just double down on what's working in the same strategies. And then you just got this method that works and you can just quite confidently, of course, you can never 100% guarantee every single book I do is going to sell amazingly because there are some things that are just out of your control, but you can get to as high as you possibly can really. And that's with that just comes with experience and that, like you say, just getting the reps in and just doing as much as you can.
And do you mind speaking to, I'm trying to think like somebody who's watching this right now who's not on KDP. Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking a question that might come up is like, what are we doing to generate these interiors, to make a unique coloring book interior or whatever type of book it is? Like, what kind of tools are you using?
So it depends entirely on the type of book you want. So like you said, coloring book there, loads of different ways to approach it. The good thing now these days with AI and just kind of lowering that barrier to entry is maybe a couple of years ago, if you wanted to make a coloring book, you had to, pay an illustrator on Fiverr, and it would cost you maybe a couple $100 to get all these very basic designs made. But now we have things like Midjourney, which honestly has completely changed the game for KDP. You can generate your own images in exactly the right style that you want. You can literally go to Midjourney, put in your prompt, and then it will have. You have to be quite smart with what your prompt is to keep the images consistent, and you can just take them there. And then in terms of the actual interior, that's all just done through Canva. So you can take those images, put it into Canva, add in some elements to make your page look a little bit nicer. Give titles, put in text, that kind of thing. And then just download that as a PDF file. And that is literally your KDP interior. An alternative to Midjourney is a website called Fabrica, which I'm sure a lot of your audience are aware of. Loads of things you can download there, pre-made, coloring pages. The only thing with things like that is if you can download it with one click, then so can anybody else. So there's more of a chance that you're producing a similar kind of content to other people. So I always recommend, if you're using Fabrica, create a coloring book or an activity book or whatever it is with elements from multiple different downloads, because the chances of someone using like 5 different files the same as you is very, very slim. But if they're using just one file, there's a chance somebody else has already done the same. So it's not rocket science. It's almost, the less effort it takes you, it's going to be the same for somebody else. So the more effort you put in and the more unique you make your product, the less likely it's going to be that someone else has put in the same amount of effort and therefore going to copy you. So it's that trade-off. Yeah, definitely ways to do it efficiently.
Can you speak to like the changes that Amazon's made kind of over time to deter people from duplicating interiors? Because that's really what made me be like, like I like KDP, but I don't love KDP. I've got these other things going on that are paying me more money, basically. You know what I mean? I couldn't give KDP the attention it needed. So do you want to talk about just like how Amazon kind of deterred us from the duplicates?
Yeah, so there's a fine line between just copying someone's content and being inspired. Like, it's business, it's a marketplace. Obviously, if a book's doing well, there's going to be people that take that concept and make their own version. Like, that's completely legitimate. That's just life. Like, it's going to happen. I've done it. People have done it to my books. It's the market, right? That's how it happens. But the issue comes when it's complete copies of the same book. So I had one book that was doing really well, and some guy, if you're smart, you'd see my book doing well and think, okay, this guy's book's doing well. Let's just repackage my own version, which is what you should do, by the way. It's just business. And let me repackage my own version and then compete against this guy. This person just literally took my entire interior, my entire front cover, kept everything the same, but changed the front color to blue, whereas mine was green. And I just thought, there are so many better ways to do this than what you've just done. Like, if you've gone and taken the same concept and done your own version, I can't say anything. That's just how it is. Like, you're competing with me. It's an open market. You can do that. But why take exactly the same book as me and then just go and copy it? So obviously I reported it to Amazon and he lost his book. So I don't know why some people do that. But in terms of using AI and stuff for books, it's a really interesting thing to educate people on, because I'm a huge advocate for using AI in your KDP books, but you have to do it right. So I always distinguish between using AI and leveraging AI. People want to be lazy and just put into ChatGPT, write me a 30,000 word book, copy and paste, stick it on KDP. Oh, I'm going to make loads of money. You're not. You're going to get banned, because Amazon aren't stupid. They can detect what's AI generated and what isn't. However, you can definitely leverage AI. So if you want to have your front cover and you want to have like the main image of your front cover, you can get that created in Midjourney. You can do that. And then you can go into Canva, add in some text, add some more elements. So you're using the AI to help you make the cover. AI hasn't made the whole cover. So it's all about just being a little bit smart. So that's, aside from copying people, is the only other way you can really get into into any issues in terms of like your actual book content. So a massive point I would make is don't just lean and use AI for everything. You still have to be having some kind of input in it, but you can massively use AI to just take all the really time-consuming tasks off your plate, basically.
And you've got a course. Do you cover that in your course?
Yeah, so I have a completely free 3.5 hours, completely free on YouTube. So I cover literally everything that you need to get started from zero to, I say, make your first $10,000 with KDP. So that's everything from niche research, keyword research, book creation. I have a lesson in there on AI coloring books that I've just mentioned here. So yeah, that is the best place to start if you don't have a huge amount of knowledge of KDP. And then once you've gone through that, I also have my accelerator course, which is just the much higher leverage, the higher value kind of skills that you need to know in KDP that will really take you to the next level. But for a foundational amount, the free course is definitely enough. And then once you've gone through that, you might want to, learn these high level skills that are just going to move the needle a lot quicker and help you grow your business a lot more. They're the really, really valuable stuff. So yeah, that's part of my accelerator program.
Yeah, there's a little bit more, or again, I haven't really been in KDP in a while, but like you said, it got a little bit more complicated. Like it was not like print on demand in the sense that like with print on demand, I can tell people like, I can confidently tell people like, just click next, fill out whatever they ask you for, click next, fill out whatever they ask you for. And I know they'll get it done. With KDP, it's like you want a little bit of hand holding when you're going through that process of publishing books for the first time. So
100%, especially when most people, myself included, before I started, just had no idea about books. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not as daunting as it kind of seems to be, but yeah, of course, having someone that can kind of help you through that. So even with the free course, I also have the free community, which I recommend everyone who takes the free course joins, because that's the place where if you have any questions, which you're going to have questions, you're learning a new skill, you can ask me there and I can happily help you out with any of those questions. So yeah, the free course and the free community with that, which is, it's linked in the course description, is the best place to start, because I can help you, and you've obviously got all the content too.
That's awesome, man. So I'm definitely going to put that in the description of this video. I'll make it the top link so everybody goes and checks that out. But is there anything else that we should cover today? Like, I think this was a pretty good primer for anybody that was, heard about KDP, didn't really know what it was. I mean, just remember, guys, I was you. If that's you, I was you in 2019 when I had absolutely no clue.
Yeah.
But you know what I did too is like I literally dedicated a whole weekend, like Saturday, Sunday, didn't do anything, only KDP. And I was so happy that I did that, because I knew it was like, hey, it's October, November, December, right around the corner. It was worth doing, obviously. But anybody watching this, like, if that's what it takes, you got Sam's free course. If that's working out and you're confident, take it to the next level. But Sam, anything else we need to know?
Yeah, one thing I would say actually is perfect timing with this, and of course I would plug my own free course, but we're currently in October. This is the best time that you can start KDP, because we've mentioned it briefly, but I'll just give a bit more detail now. November and December, obviously it's close to Christmas. This is where you see a massive increase in KDP sales. So if you're going to start, this is by far the best time to start, because yes, there's no such thing as an overnight success with this, but your sales will be higher than they will be at any other point in the year. So it's a best place to start in terms of getting data on kind of what works and what doesn't. Obviously, you're going to make more money. So I couldn't recommend anyone to start KDP more than literally right now at the time this video goes out. So yeah, get on KDP as soon as you can and make the most of the Q4 period.
Absolutely. And I mean, again, just to reiterate, kdp.amazon.com. You can go create your account right now. It's not like Amazon merch where you have to apply. Yep. You get in immediately with KDP, guys. So go do that. Check out Sam's course, linked in the top of the description. Sam, anything else?
No, like I say, if anyone wants to head over, let me know you've come from this video, and I'll be more than happy to help any of you out.
Awesome, man. Well, it's good to know that everything's going well with you, man. That business is good, that your move went well. And we'll have to do it again in a couple years, if not sooner.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Or if anyone has any extra questions on KDP off the back of this, maybe we can answer them in another one. But yeah, let's see how we do.
Sounds good, man. All right, well, take care, man. It's good catching up with you.
Cheers, Ryan. Appreciate it.